message with the word Derby. If you could be king or queen for a day, what would you do? I mean, let's face it, it sounds like they probably need someone to step in once the Queen. And of course, the Queen is not going to step down. There is absolutely no way. And we don't want her to either. Well, I certainly don't want her to. It will be the moment when she passes away that the crown will be passed over to, well, who? Actually, who? Because Prince Harry... And I do love his honesty. I've got a lot of time for Prince Harry. But he has probably got into trouble for this because he's revealed no one in the royal family wants to be king or queen. It's understandable, really, isn't it? Although I think I disagree. I reckon Prince Charles, for quite a number of years now, has been going, "Oh, mother, when are you going to let me have a go? Come on." There was a really funny, when she went to do the state opening of Parliament yesterday, which of course we were talking about the show because apparently she was dressing down. She still looked very, very smart and queen-like to me. But when she went to do the state opening of Parliament, of course, Prince Philip, who we're now hearing is now out of hospital, but he'd gone to hospital for treatment for this infection that had kind of come back again. And so as a result, Prince Philip wasn't allowed to accompany the Queen. So she took along Prince Charles instead. And there's a photo of the two of them sat together during the ceremony. And someone tweeted it and put, "When you have to take your kids to work because you've got no childcare." Brilliant. Hilarious. But anyway, Prince Harry, of course, probably got into a bit of trouble because he said that nobody wants to take over as king or queen. So, I mean, if the royal family, nobody wants the job, how about you? If you could be king or queen for a day, what would you do? I'd love to hear from you this morning. Call, text, tweet, Facebook, email. It'd be great to hear from you. We've got some great examples already. We've done the rounds in the office here at Radio Derby. So here's just one or two examples to get you thinking, to get your imagination running wild. So one of the management team would, and I quote, buy Mary Berry. If he was king, he would buy Mary Berry, apparently so that she would have to make him cakes on demand. I think that's it. Look, if you're going to be king or queen, well, let's abuse it, shall we? I personally, I think, would like to host a huge dinner party. I would take time designing the menu because I'm all about the food, choosing the wine to go with it, and then hand it all over to the kitchen staff and say, "Go and sort this, please." And that's it. And there's no washing up afterwards. Brilliant. Sam on the team, she would have a butler bring her a cup of tea every hour in a china cup and saucer, no less. Apparently, I didn't know that. I'm not sure whether this is true, but apparently a butler is not allowed to refuse any request. Is that true? Well, I know just the man to ask. Grant Harold, known as the Royal Butler, is a former Royal Butler and a member of the royal household of their Royal Highnesses, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall. Grant is with me now. Good morning, Grant.
Good morning, Sally.
Now, first of all, before we go into that question of whether you're allowed to refuse any requests, don't answer. We'll wait to hear the answer to that one. But I want to know now. Come on. You've been behind the scenes. You get the gossip. Am I right in thinking that Prince Charles probably has been going, "Come on, mother, it's my turn now"? Is that true?
Well, do you know the thing is that with the prince and other members of the royal family throughout, obviously over the centuries, when you're heir, you're obviously the next one in line to the throne. It's a job that you kind of take on. You know that the sad part is that when your parent is no longer here, that's what you're gonna assume you're gonna take on. And I think that with Prince Harry obviously saying that about that nobody, obviously what you've said about nobody wanting to be king and queen, I think what he's actually meaning is it's the burden. I think that's what the angle. I think there's been a little bit, the media might have picked up a little bit wrong. I kind of think that. For me, it's what I understand is that with always being a king queen, it's not just the kind of royal duties, the things that you see. It's your life is completely dedicated. Now, the Queen, as we know, when she was 21, said, "I dedicate the rest of my life to the service of my people." And as we know, that's exactly what is she now, 91, and she's still doing it. So I think it's more. This is just a personal thing. I think it's more the burden kind of side of it. What you might be trying to say is it's not something that you would wish on anyone, because it's not all about glamour and about attending Ascot and all the kind of pretty things. There's a lot of things that they get to do that I've been lucky enough to accompany them on, and it's really difficult. In fact, it pulls the heartstrings, some of it.
Yeah, but that aside, Grant, come on, there's loads of fun to be had if you were king or queen.
Yeah, you mean
We'll just focus on the fun stuff, I think, for today.
Okay, I'm worried about Sam's thing about having a butler to bring tea to every hour.
Now,
I'm
is
sure
that allowed?
I'd never be Sam's butler.
Oh, Sam's gutted now. Yeah, China cup and saucer. Now is the question then, Grant, as a former royal butler. Is this true? Is it true that a butler is not allowed to refuse any request? Because I find that very hard to believe.
I'm sure Catherine would think that's wonderful advice. I'm sure Catherine would say that's exactly how it should be. No, the reality is, no one's going to hopefully ask you anything that you're going to feel uncomfortable about. And I train my butlers over at Blenheim Palace, and I say to my students that if you ever get asked anything that you think is inappropriate or makes you feel uncomfortable, or you just don't think it's a very fair request, whatever that might be, obviously you can now air it. We're not living 100 years ago where, somebody might ask you to do something, you think, oh, I don't really want to kind of do that. But luckily, in 20 years, nobody's ever asked me anything that I thought was unusual or strange.
So you weren't taking cups of tea every hour in a china cup and saucer? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think the only person I'd be taking cups of tea to every hour would probably be myself, because I love my tea. But no, I wouldn't be running around to anyone else every hour. The thing is, you obviously have your tea at your breakfast, which, as we know, you'd be having between 8 and 10. Then you'd have maybe a cup of coffee or tea about 11ish for your 11s, and you might have another cup of tea after your lunch. You talk about 2:30, and then you have your afternoon tea between 4 and 6, and again you might have a cup of tea at the end of your dinner, so about 10:30. So it's not every hour, but maybe every couple of hours.
Yeah, well, can you live with that, Sam? She's thinking about it. She thinks she might be able to accommodate.
I'm just really glad that she wants to have the china cup and saucer. That's a very good sign. That's a status thing. If you have a clay mug, it's actually back in the days when the downstairs staff had the clay mugs, because they were the ones that couldn't resist the heat. So you had to put some milk in before, and then you put the tea in. So the downstairs staff had the cheap clay mugs. The upstairs staff had the very fine bone china, because the tea could go in, the china didn't crack, and you put the milk in after. So it's very much a status thing. So the fact that Sam uses fine bone china,
what? You're
is
blowing
really
my
important.
mind. You're blowing my mind, Grant. What are you trying to say? Are you suggesting that the upper classes put their milk in second?
Oh, absolutely.
What?
All the time. All the time. You must never put your milk in first, because what I'm trying to say is that it's back to the days of when our clay mugs used to crack. So you'd have to put the milk in first to stop them cracking. When Josiah Spode invented the wonderful bone china, the upper classes then were going around saying, look, we can put our tea into this fine bone china first, and then a little drop of milk, because it wouldn't crack. So it was a status thing. So if somebody goes around saying they use fine bone china, they've obviously, they know what they're talking about. So obviously Sam's got very she's probably got a butler, actually. She's probably a lady. She's probably got some big manor house somewhere, and she's making you all think that she hasn't got any of that.
Lady Samantha from now on. Marvellous.
Lady Samantha. I hope she's double-barreled.
Now, come on, because we want to have a bit of fun with this, right? So I'm asking people to phone in and say if they could be king or queen. I've said a day, but I'm now thinking 24 hours is nowhere near long enough, because one of the things I quite fancy is just changing bedrooms every night, because I can, and I don't have to worry about changing the sheets because someone else is doing it for me.
Well, do you know what? If you're a king or a queen, or if you don't even make that level, if you suddenly want to go into the aristocracy and you live in one of these big, gorgeous houses, of course, they've got many bedrooms. And of course, I think anyone would want to kind of go into the different rooms to see what all the different beds are like. And as you said, if you've got a housekeeping team, they'll do all the laundry, so you don't have to worry about the sheets or anything. But I love laundry and sheets. So the problem with me is I'm very much a very good butler for myself. So when I do use my spare room or something, I'm quite happy to go and remake it and everything.
Oh yeah, you're alone with that, Grant. you are. Well, I should hope so. Really, go on. Give me an example of some of the fun stuff we could really enjoy behind the scenes.
Well,
working for the Queen, you know the things that she's allowed to do.
Well, see, the kind of things that I remember that I really enjoyed, it is you talk about the fun thing, it is the kind of royal balls, the kind of of balls that they have. Now, I remember many years ago being up in Scotland, and the Queen has the Gillies Ball, which has been going on since the time of Queen Victoria. And it's a chance where the royals and the estate staff and the military and everyone all gets together, and it's very much it's a ball. I mean, it's a traditional ball, Scottish ball with Scottish music and Scottish dancing.
Is this the one, Grant, where you got to dance with the Queen?
It was the one I got to dance with the Queen, and I remember as a child wanting to one day meet the Queen and actually be able to speak to her, and never did I think I'd actually get to dance with her. But what's wonderful about that is it's a fun occasion, and the royals love it, and we love it, and everybody has such good fun. So I mean, that's one of the kind of fun things you get to do.
But tell me, Grant, does the Queen ever cook?
The Queen, I actually wouldn't be sure about that, because I've never actually been with her to actually see her on her own, to see her actually in a kitchen.
Because she doesn't have to, does she?
No,
I mean, somebody would cook for her every single meal that she wants.
Well, as you've seen, there's been quite a few documentaries with the royal family, and you see the kitchens, and they've got their chefs, and they've got the common chefs, and they've got everybody kind of. So it is a bit like, I mean, Buckingham Palace. The working of it is very. I mean, it's amazing how it's all kind of run, but it's a huge place, and the kitchens are fully manned, with all these chefs and everything, and with state dinners and things, they've got to kind of be run to a really high standard. So again, if you moved into Buckingham Palace, you'd expect all your meals to be provided for. But I don't
when do I move? When do I go?
I don't quite know if you'd be able to manage all the meals, because, as I said, there's a lot of meals that you have throughout the day. So you'd probably struggle, I think.
I'd give it a good go. I really would, Grant. Great to talk to you as ever. There's so much we could talk about. I'm sure we'll speak to Grant again. Grant Harold, known as the Royal Butler, former Royal Butler and member of the Royal Household of their Royal Highnesses, the Prince of Wales and the Duchess of Cornwall. Fascinating stuff. Go on then. Let your imagination run.